Welcome to the first in a series of informative videos on peer-to-peer file sharing and copyright infringement. My name is Darren Delaney. I'm Head of Technical Services here at Net4 Technologies. So firstly, peer-to-peer definition. So peer-to-peer is a type of internet network allowing a group of computer users with the same networking program to connect with each other for the purpose of directly accessing files from one another's hard drives. So in summary, it's just a way of sharing information. Now in the past, network diagrams looked like this here. Okay, this is quite simplistic, but clients connected to a server and they exchange information. With peer-to-peer, there's no core, there's no central server location. Instead, if I want to download something, I connect to lots and lots of clients or peers within the network, and I download pieces of the file or pieces of the video that I want to download. Now later on in the videos, we're going to take a look at setting up a peer-to-peer monitoring dashboard like this one here. Now this is using the LandGuardian system, and we'll be able to have things like torrent downloads, top users of peer-to-peer, amount of data associated with peer-to-peer, all in a single dashboard. So again, this is something we're going to come back to. So there's two things when it comes to peer-to-peer that is significant. The first one is about protecting your network. It's about keeping the network running efficiently and fairly, avoiding disproportionate bandwidth consumption by a handful of users, and also avoiding unintentional data leakage. Now the second thing with peer-to-peer is about protecting your reputation. So it's about monitoring copyrighted material transferred over peer-to-peer protocols, and this avoids exposure and possible embarrassment. And it's also just about being aware of what's happening on the network. So a couple of cases going back now over the last 2 decades. So these were cases that were held in US and European courts. First one here goes right back to when video cassettes first came out. And it was deemed the piece of equipment, it wasn't considered illegal if substantial non-infringing use can be made of them. Then it came along to the Grokster decision, and this was more about software. And again, it was very much like the previous decision in that the tool itself wasn't illegal. And then we came to the Napster case in 2001. But this was deliberately marketed as a medium for distributing audio files without permission from copyright holders. And this was closed down. It was easy to close down because it did have servers, so it was if you shut the servers down, the whole thing fell apart. And more recent, we had the Pirate Bay case. And in this case, the prosecutor claimed that Pirate Bay existed to administer hosts and develop the site, and thereby facilitated other people's breach copyright law. Interestingly, here is the Pirate Bay site doesn't contain any videos or any music files, but they deemed that it was used to facilitate other people's downloading of these media files. Now, if you want, down at the bottom here, I've got some further URLs that you can look up, and you get further information on these legal cases. What we are seeing, what we are finding with customers is they're getting a lot more of these notices. So these are DMCA notices or Digital Millennium Copyright Act notifications. I'm not going to read through the whole thing here, but the interesting pieces at the bottom where it will show you the IP address associated with your network, the type of application involved, and the type of software or video or the download or upload involved here. So we're finding that our customers are getting a lot more of these notices through the post. Now, what we're seeing on customer networks is BitTorrent is definitely the most popular peer-to-peer protocol, and it's evident pretty much everywhere. Now, a lot of places will try and block it, whereas in campus networks, university type networks, you will find lots and lots of peer-to-peer in use. And it causes large volumes of traffic and internet links. Now, over the last couple of years, it's also become really easy to download content from peer-to-peer networks, and the Pirate Bay case has increased awareness of peer-to-peer and the BitTorrent application. So a little sample here to the type of downloads, and this was from a 5-hour period on a customer network. And if we look here, there's quite a mix of videos and TV programs, and also some software downloads as well. Now, granted, the software downloads, some of them look to be fairly okay. There looks somebody's downloading drivers, but it's some music, there's some videos, there's some TV programs. One thing we're also finding on networks is that whereas in the past network or your internet connection bandwidth utilization looks something like this here. So the blue line here is the inbound, and that was always higher than the outbound because you were downloading information from websites. But what we find now is, with some networks, is the the outbound traffic has increased beyond the inbound traffic, and that is the information on the network being shared out. And that's the danger part here. That's information on the network, and it could be illegal information being shared out to other people on the internet. So if it's just traffic, where's the difficulty here with let's say monitoring and trying to figure out what's happening? Well, the problem is there's no well-known service to monitor, because it's peer-to-peer, it's clients to clients. There's no well-known ports to monitor. Ports, like in the past, if you want to monitor web, you could look at port 80, but ports are negotiated by peers, so they're very random. They're always very high port numbers. Idea is signature, so your intrusion detection system will detect a BitTorrent or peer startup client on your network, but they don't reveal much more about what is actually happening. So you need to follow the protocol. You need to understand the protocol, the connections. And because BitTorrent is definitely the most popular one out there, that's the one we're going to take a look at. So the first thing about the whole BitTorrent thing is the first part of it starts with these torrent files. So the torrent file describes some media available for sharing. It does not contain any media content. And this was the whole Pirate Bay defense. Trackers know peers that have media available for sharing, and we'll come to trackers later on, just in a couple of minutes. And they introduce peers for media sharing. Peers are the clients that share pieces of the file. So if we look over here, this is an extract from a torrent file. So we've got the name of the media that's been shared here. In this case, it's it looks like it's some sort of an operating system. It's got here the tracker. It's called here announced, and it's got some alphanumerical text. And this is an important piece. So we'll come back to that later on as well. But really, what I'm trying to say here is the whole thing about BitTorrent starts here with the torrent file. So let me explain how sharing happens. Firstly, a peer obtains torrent file. So I would go on my PC, I will log on to, let's say, piratebay.org. I'll do a search for a particular video, and I will download the torrent file. So that's the second green line there at the bottom, labeled B. That's the torrent file being downloaded. Once I get the torrent file, my peer-to-peer application will read that, and it generates an info hash. So it's the SHA-1 hash of the torrent file. And this is an important piece because this is used then to validate any piece of information I get in from clients, just to make sure it's part of the file I want to download. So the peer then sends the info hash to a tracker, and then it gets a list of peers. So I will contact piratebay.org again, and I will request a list of peers, or a list of clients out there that have the video or have the media file that I want to download. And then I will set up a connection to all the different peers out there that have this file that I want to download. And then we agree ports, and this is where all these random ports kick in. And then we start exchanging data. So I will then start building up this large file that I want to download, and I take pieces from lots of peers out on the internet. So what can we learn from this? So the torrent file name, the media file, does not impede any transactions. So this is the problem with peer-to-peer, is that once it's up and running, we try and monitor peer-to-peer traffic. There is no reference in there to what's being downloaded. But we can monitor the info hash exchanges. So this is the exchanges between the clients and the trackers. And what we can do then is build up a database of the types of files being downloaded within your network. So this passively is listening to what's being downloaded, and we can map that then to the actual BitTorrent traffic on the network. Okay, so that's a very quick introduction to peer-to-peer. And we're going to take a little bit more about peer-to-peer traffic on the network and what it looks like, how you can report on it, how you can get the file names out. So again, this is the first of a series of videos. You can check us out on YouTube. We will have more videos posted here. And also check out our blog here at networktechnologies.blogspot.com.